And so, get back to it. If I'm looking at 15 and 6, this is different than 4 and 8. It was super convenient that I could actually just multiply 4 by 2 to get to 8, and I only had to change one fraction. But if I look at these two right now, I know that there's no whole number I can multiply 6 by to get to 15. And so instead, I know that both of these fractions are going to end up having to change. The question is, what should I use then for my least common denominator? Well, let's think about our multiples. We talked about this yesterday, but when we write out multiples, remember that it's the same thing as just counting by that number. And so here we're going to have, okay, first one is 15. Everybody, second one is 30. Next one. 45. And then last 60.
Just real quick, when Mr. Wise is on the board, you should be doing all your notes. So
yes.
His pen is your pen. Okay. Just make sure you're capturing this as well.
And so for 15, we have 15, 30, 45, 60. Now, here's a sort of the rule for least common multiples or least common denominators. The larger number, we're generally going to have to list out less than the smaller number. And so I'm going out 4 just to kind of give myself options. And so now let's do the same thing with 6. I'm hoping we can move a little bit smoother through multiples of 6. First one's the easy one. That's 6. Next one. Next. 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 All right. Much smoother. And so raise your hand. What number should I be using as my least common denominator, and why? Gio. 100% yes. Why?
Because it's the lowest common multiple that ends up.
Yeah, it's the lowest number that shows up in both lists, right? It's simple as that. When we check for our least common multiple, we just need the smallest number in both these lists. Okay. Now then comes the part that we did on the Explore. I know that I have 7/15. I'm actually going to put just a little bit of a line there so I can separate my work. I'm going to have to multiply. We remember that the dot's multiplication, right? Good? Okay. I'm going to have to multiply by something to get my denominator to 30. What number times 15 gets me to 30? MJ. What number times 15 is 30? So 15 times what is 30? 2. That's 100% right. And as we talked about on the Explore, if my denominator has to be 2, D'Anthony put this in really clear words. My numerator needs to be the same number. And so changing this, I know I'm going to have 7/15 times 2 over 2. Denominator's taken care of. Everybody, what is 7 times 2?
14.
And so I now have changed my first fraction. I'm going to do the same thing but with my second fraction. I have 1/6. Multiply by something to get a denominator of 30. 6 times what is 30? Hang on. Janaya. Louder. 5. And so I'm going to multiply by 5 over 5. Okay, well, this is hopefully an easy one. Everybody, what's 1 times 5?
5.
Good. And so now I'm going to use these and go back to my original problem. Right? 7 over 15 minus 1 over 6. Well, it's actually, let me write this all out. Now that we've changed these, that's really 14 over 30 minus 5 over 30. My denominators are now the same. Good. If something happens and we then go to set this up, and our denominators are like different again, you gotta stop. Red light right there. You gotta go back and you gotta check your work. And so now it's just a matter of performing the operation with the numerators. Everybody again, what is 14 minus 5? 9. And so my answer is going to be 9 over 30. The push question here, and I want to see hands for this, should I leave this as 9 over 30? Let me see hands. Let me see hands. Should I leave this as 9 over 30? I'm seeing some head shake. I think that's a good thing. And so if I shouldn't leave this as 9 over 30, the follow-up question is, what should it change to? Turn and talk, 15 seconds. Go. Thank you. All right, answer me back in 3, and in 2, and we're all the way back in 1, please. Gio, thank you very fast. Kevin, thank you. We're there. Almost there. Make sure voices are off. MJ, make sure I get eyes. Tay, head up, please. What should I change 9 over 30 to? Gabby. Louder. 3 over 10. How did you get that? Yeah. And so, as Gabby said, I'm going to say it a little bit louder. I can divide both 9 and 30 by 3, and so I should. If we remember from a few years ago, I think this is like 6th, 5th, maybe 7th grade, we always want to reduce our fractions. We always want to reduce our fractions. And so 3/10 would be our final answer. All right, I'm going to go through the second example faster. We have this. We've seen this done out. I'm going to move just a little bit quicker. Example 2, only thing that's changed, this is addition. Yeah, my denominators are different, but the setup is the same. And so if I'm looking at multiples of 6, I know I've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I'm now going to check 8. 8, 16, 24, 32. Well, wait a second. 24 is in both of these lists, which means that my least common denominator or least common multiple, again, same thing, should be 24. And so I now have to change both of these fractions so that the denominator is 24. Well, if I'm thinking about 5/6, I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4, which is going to give me 20 over 24. Again, it's that same idea of thinking, right? 6 times what number is going to be 24? It happens to be 4. Next, I'm going to do the same thing, but for 3/8. Again, I'm thinking 8 times what number gets me to 24? Well, in this case, it's 3. And so I'm going to have times 3 over 3, which is going to give me 9 over 24. And so again, I'm going to take these. I'm going to set up my original. 5/6 plus 3/8 is really 20 over 24 plus 9 over 24. Well, 20 plus 9, everybody, is 29. Now, this, I'll name up front, is not reducible. It stays like this. Once you have this example down, put pencils down so that I can see. Thank you, D'Anthony. We're there. Gabby is there. Good. Amy, thank you. All right. That is it for notes. And so, while it does not have the actual circles on the back, I need you to put a little bit of glue in each of the corners, a little bit of glue in the middle of the back of the paper, and that's going to go in your notebook. And so, right, this is my notebook. There's my page. I know yours doesn't say glue, but you're going to take it. Put the glue. Again, not a lot. These are yesterday's. Put it in. I see people giving it a good press. Good. MJ, you do not need that much glue, man. It's okay. Again, not an art picture. It's just a little bit of glue. These glue sticks gotta last for all my classes for all quarter. Really, it should last for like a semester, but we'll talk about that later. Give it a good push. Make sure it's in there, not going anywhere. And then go ahead and just set your notebook to the side so that it can dry. You will want to reference them, and so I recommend just leaving it open.